Hi there and welcome back to RedStone Productions. 3 weeks ago, Joshua van der Stam, the CEO and founder of Stam Audio, passed by our studio here in Amsterdam and brought along with him the 609 Plus, the latest iteration of Stam Audio's take on the 33609. Let's go check it out. First of all, how you doing, man?
We're doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having. I think this is the third time we're here.
This is the third time. You're right.
We really
about
appreciate
that.
it. Thank you so much.
I've always been extremely in love with the 33609 design from Rupert Neve, and I was lucky enough to get my hands on one of your first units, and then the NK2 version. And then when you told me that you were going to be coming to the city with the latest and greatest MK. Can we call it MK4, MK3?
We changed it to Plus, just 609 Plus.
So this is the SA-609 Plus.
This is the final revision. We're not going to touch it again. We cannot possibly add more things that we've already done. Well, you tried the Mark 1 and the Mark 2.
Yes.
What we went on for this one is three main things. First, we had a high-pass filter, which is quite hidden there, but very useful. You got two positions. You got 60 Hertz and 120 and off.
That's very tasty.
So that's something that a lot of people were asking about.
That's on the sidechain of the compressor.
Yeah, sidechain of the compressor. And then here we have 3 attack times. So the original 609 metal knob had an attack time of around 5 milliseconds. Then in the latest end revision they did, you could choose a 2 millisecond fast attack time to grab all those percussion, transients, and all that stuff. But I always felt it was missing a slow attack time for mixed bus drums, bus duties. And at Stam, we love 20 milliseconds. So we like that number because rock music, electronic music, all those genres with heavy basses benefit from that super slow attack time. So we added it there as well, making it much more versatile than the previous version. We also upgraded some capacitors to tantalum capacitors like it was on the old unit, the original one, which gives more low end, more coloration. It's just more vibey.
Okay.
And then obviously the star of the show is having all revisions done. So what we did there is we started with a metal knob. The metal knob was famous for the low end, very thick compressor, but it also had a very nice top end due to the amount of harmonic distortion. Then they changed to C, which saw a change in transformers to another brand. And that low end and that 440 op-amp was gone. That Mariner transformer on the upper was gone. So it became a bit sterile, but it had quite a lot of top end, quite a lot of information above 12K, which made it appealing to some engineers, but a lot of people were like, no, we missed the discrete version. So on the JD that came out later, they reverted back to building with the 440 op-amps, and they brought in Carnhill transformers, which, as you know, are descendant of the Mariners.
Of course.
So the low end kind of came back. It was not as sterile, it was more colorful. It was definitely, to my personal taste, way closer to this one, but not quite. And then in the end revision, which is the latest one, we just call it M for Modern, it's kind of trying to do the same as the metal knob, but it's not the same. So the main thing here, how we achieve this is you have to have all the low end of the metal knob, and then you can take off some low end, and you have to have all the top end, and then you have to take it off on what revision you want to do. So we play with some values inside to achieve, and I spent many months listening to each revision and match it. But you cannot add what's not there. So if you don't have the low end of the metal knob, it's not possible to then on the JD or on the C add it. But if you do have it, you can take it off a little bit. The idea is that anybody who owns an original 33609 of any of these revisions can get a Stam, shoot it out against that one and say, okay, it actually sounds like my C or my JD or my metal knob. So essentially, this unit is loved by a lot of people, but it's also resisted by a lot of people, because it was so bass heavy and it's got so much vibe and color going on. It's not for everybody, it's not for every genre. But a lot of that I attribute to the attack times.
Yeah, that's one thing that indeed you couldn't really control. You could control just the recovery on the compressor, and the fact that now you have, this possibility here to switch in between the stock or faster and slower. Indeed, it lets you tackle the transients if you want to be a little bit more aggressive and chop off those transients for percussive elements, or slow it down if you actually want to use it on a 2-bus or something.
Yeah, and combined with this tool of not compressing those low frequencies, it now becomes much more useful. That was the idea. Let's the transients go through. Let's avoid over compressing the low end too much when you have so much low end information. And you wanted something modern that's not so bass heavy, and you want that top end to pop out. There's the C. You want the mid push and the drop on the top end, but with some more low end, you go with the JD. You want the vintage original units, very bass heavy with a lot of harmonic distortion.
And then to top it all off, as always with Stam units in the recent years.
Step, dry, wet.
Step, dry, wet. This is, I'm not used to the actual step, dry, wet, but this is
21
great,
positions.
Of course. That's 21 positions. The man knows it. And this is great for recall. And this is, that's very welcome. It makes a lot of sense for a unit that it's also designed to be on master bus duties.
Yeah, and if everything is stepped, it would have been weird for this to not be.
I agree with you.
So, but as you said, it's for recalling purposes, make life easier on the consumer. A lot of people tell us, oh, you're selling this as if it was 4 compressors, and it's not 4 compressors because it's 1 compressor, it's 1 stereo compressor. What I'm giving you or trying to give you is the flexibility of the tone, of the THD, and of each revision. And also, you're not putting sort of a monster, a Frankenstein together between different compressors. These things vary through time, but there were small changes. So it's still the same unit, the same sidechain, the same transformers, unless only the C version doesn't have the same transformers. So you're essentially just those small modifications giving the.
I mean, and if you go back into the history, these were kind of the cars that were available for Neve back in the day. So and they were used on line amps, 1272s, on the 1073s, and then they would be used also on consoles and parts of these designs. And as soon as they progressed into whatever it was the next design, they would actually use it on whatever was current on their catalog. So of course it evolved through the years. Have you done this matching with the original units yourself, by ears?
By ear.
By ear, okay.
Well, I rented units, several, took sort of an average, because not surprisingly, the 3 metal knobs I got a hold of were a bit different. So then you just have to choose your favorite, because it's impossible to match all 3. And it was done about 6 months of listening. What I do, I have a new method, is I isolate every frequency by itself. So I only listen to 3K, and I loop it, and then I change to the original in mine and see if there's a difference. Then I do the same at 1K, at 60 Hertz. So I try to see check
across
if every
the frequency
everything matches. And then it becomes very obvious, like at 8K or 5K, which are frequencies that pop out too much, you can immediately hear the hi-hat or anything being brighter or not. And then you have to check the entire unit, that's a frequency response in total, like just comparing it without specifying a frequency. And then in context, in a song.
Running actual music.
So it's a new method I've been using for the past 2 years that has allowed me to get really close. I mean, when I cannot distinguish them anymore and I can really not hear a difference, I'm done.
That you like, blind test, I cannot tell which one is which anymore.
If I cannot achieve that, I don't release it.
You keep on digging.
Yeah, because I think it is possible, but it just takes a lot of patience. I love doing this, and time, a lot of time.
Now it's time to run some audio material through the unit and see how it actually sounds. If you want to know more about the actual circuit and the topology of this compressor, go check out our first video on the 33609 MK2, where we talk about the Diode Bridge compression idea and how it actually works. Thank you for stopping by. And next time you have some digital recall units, you know
We'll
where
be
to
here.
stop.
We'll be here.
Cool. Cheers.